It isn't just on campus that students are feeling the squeeze. One survey this year said that rents in the private sector in Exeter were the second highest in the country.
Prices have been pushed up across the city by more students coming to the university and by more businesses moving to Exeter. But there are signs that the news on rents for next year might not be so bad, as Xpression FM's Flora Derounian reports.
Living off campus for an Exeter student is proving rather expensive these days. Rent, bills and food prices are higher than ever. Exeter is nearly the most expensive city for students to live in the country. Over the summer, Exeter was reported to have the second highest student rent prices across the country. This was announced by accommodationforstudents.com, who base their findings on the rents of almost 86,000 properties in 78 UK cities and towns. The average weekly student rent now stands at £67.11, up 3% on last year, with London students being hit the hardest with average weekly rent at £108.03. Simon Thompson, the director of accommodationforstudents.com, said the trend for high-spec, better quality student accommodation and some locations are leading the way in this area. The other key factor is the desirability of attending some universities that puts pressure on the accommodation available and hence the charging of higher rents. We've spoken to some Exeter students and asked them whether they were surprised with these facts.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think as a city in general, the cost of living is a lot higher than other places. You talk to people at other unis and even like on nights out, student prices for drinks, they still think that's really expensive.
Second? Is it really? I'd have never guessed that. I thought, judging by how much I pay, I would have thought that it would have been sort of middle of the road. It's just good value for what the houses we get, but hearing that it was second, that stumped me.
Not really, it's very expensive compared to what my other friends are paying in like northern universities. I think some of the houses are really nice and are probably worth a bit more, but mine at the moment is really overpriced.
Cardens, one of the city's leading estate agents, provides student accommodation. We discussed Exeter's rising rent prices with the owner, John.
I think ultimately the market decides, and the fact that students are willing to pay the rents that are being asked tends to imply that the properties are worth those rents, yeah.
Xlets, who are located at the heart of the university, are run as part of the University Student Guild and aim to support and provide students with housing. The manager, Mike, shared his opinion on why Exeter charges such high rents.
The university certainly sets a precedence with regards to its rent. Landlords obviously jumped on the bandwagon with a lot of students. I think, unfortunately, Exeter has attracted a lot of wealthy students, and landlords have seen that there's a market to monopolise on that.
I then caught up with Nick Davis, the Guild's president.
We've been in discussions with letting agents, with landlords and with the university, and we are looking to run a campaign this year involving all of those parties to discuss not only the price of housing around the city, because obviously this is something controlled by the landlords themselves and is very difficult to influence, so we're just trying to make students aware that there is a lot of desirable property and that they don't have to rush into renting. When we've done this, hopefully we can look at students actually holding back and saying to landlords, well, we're not happy to pay this price, and that is where we will see a cut.
Now, obviously, we know that Exeter has a reputation for being quite elitist and feeding in from public schools. Do you think that the high rent price in Exeter will affect the demographic of students coming to the university?
That's a very good question, and I believe the stigma is starting to turn, and people are starting to realise that although it's not a multicultural metropolis like London University or Manchester, it is a place where people from different backgrounds come to share in education. I would like to think that hopefully over the next couple of years we will start to make a change in rent prices, and therefore they won't be a defining factor of the students that we're taking in here at Exeter.
Just a final point, you mentioned that it's not a multicultural university like in London. However, London is the place with the first highest rent prices. Why does Exeter have these really high rent prices?
It's a number of economic factors. I suppose the fact as well that we are the capital of the Southwest has some allure to homeowners, and I think just being a very beautiful and fairly affluent area, especially with the university students here, it's very easy for landlords to feel that they are able to charge these prices.
But it isn't just rent which concerns students when living off campus. Earlier this year, South West Water announced that their customers will be paying an average of over 5% more on their water bills. On a brighter note, Exeter rent prices at least look to be levelling out.
Flora Derounian reporting there, and Flora is live in a student house on Rosebery Road now. Flora?
Hi, I'm in a typical student house in Rosebery Road with Helen Walker, a fourth year student. Hi Helen.
Hello.
So first of all, tell me, how high is your rent and can you afford it?
Well, mine's not actually too bad compared to a lot of students. We're paying about 72, but that's without any bills included. But all my friends are paying a lot more than that.
So do you find that you have to do anything extra to supplement your loan to afford to pay this rent?
Yes, I have to. I have to get a job during the holidays.
And what do you do as your job?
I work at a supermarket.
Is that something you enjoy doing, or is it something you just do to get the money?
I don't really enjoy it, but I have to, otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford this.
And do you find that having a job puts you under pressure in terms of doing your academic work and working to be paid?
Yes, it definitely does, because during the holidays you often get quite a few deadlines, and trying to complete them and work, it's quite a lot really.
So do you feel that teachers expect students to have to do paid work as well as academic work? Do you think it's something that they take into account?
I don't think it is really, because each teacher gives you the work from their lesson and they don't even seem to take into account that you may have other lessons. Especially if you're doing like a dual degree, and it's just a problem for me.
I can definitely sympathise with that. And finally, we talked to Nick Davis this week, and he said that accommodation in Exeter is expensive because it's generally of a very high standard. Is this something you'd agree with?
No, I really don't think so. My second year house, that was full of mould. Another house that I looked round had mould as well, and I've seen houses before that people are just sleeping on a mattress rather than an actual bed.
Oh my goodness. Thank you very much for these comments, Helen. Helen represents a typical Exeter student, having to pay more in rent than they receive in loan payments. Whether it's working term time or during the holidays, it's clear that high rent prices are putting students under pressure. However, with housing agents dictating the prices, it doesn't seem that the situation will change anytime soon.